This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to Straight Talk again with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. How you doing, Big Papa?
I'm doing all right, Big Bishop. How you doing?
Man, if I was doing any better, man, I'd be doing better.
All right.
I see you.
Do better.
I see you sitting over
Do
there.
better.
I see you sitting over there in a box and then look like I'm in a box too. I think I want to come out of that box. I just think I don't want to be in a box, Shanan. I don't like being in a box, Shanan. I don't like a box. You know what I mean?
Well, get out the box. I'm in a box.
Oh, you're in a box. I'm gonna let you stay in the box.
You got me up in a box.
I'm gonna let you stay.
And you know me, I'm very much out of the box.
Well, since you're in the box, I'm gonna stay in the box with you. How about that? We'll both be in the
Absolutely.
box. Maybe folks will say y'all behaving yourself tonight.
Keep us in a box in front of a stranger.
Yeah, maybe they'll say we behaving ourselves tonight. But man, last week's show was a great show, and thanks so many of you for sending your comments. I'm going to read a few, and then we're going to get ready with the program tonight. And you know, the topic last week was guns and violence and fear. Guns, violence, and fear. And so this week we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have City Councilman Antonio Lewis, who's going to be talking about his experience as a kid and dealing with gun violence and his mother getting killed, shot 20 times. He's going to talk about that and about the loss of his mother at 2 years old. That had to be devastating for a kid. Well, we have several here that I want to read. I want to read this one from Brother Muhammad said, you two guys, great minds work together. And I want to thank you, Sister Brenda Muhammad, for your comments. We have many comments that came in last week, but I'm just going to read just a couple. One, I'm going to read from Officer Calvin Ponder. He says, active shooting versus mass shooting is a play on words to recruit the black community. By definition, there have been mass shootings at high school football games, drive-by shooting, and etc. The media overlooks them for years because they happen in prominent black communities and didn't affect the safety of other communities. Black people didn't get bothered about active shooting because they didn't really occur in our community. Now that other communities are experiencing the same type of violence, they want us to join in with them to fight the problem. When there was no problem, when it was just our kids and our community being shot up. So that's the comment that came in. I wanted to read that comment. And then one other comment from Evangelist Bernice Benson. She said, I really enjoyed the show. The conversation with valuable information. Keep up the good work. So, and there are others, Rita Banks and one from SELC. She says, great show. She enjoyed it. Great topic. And it's so many more. And thank you for subscribing. Continue to subscribe to the channel. Continue to give us insight and valuable feedback about what we're doing, good, bad, or indifferent. It's your opinion. You can give us your opinion. We won't get upset about your opinion because that may help us to see things in a different light. So, Shanan, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go and call on Miss C. Is that all right with you, sir?
Yes. Looking forward to Miss C. And I'm going to add one more thing after Miss C.
Okay.
If you don't have to let us make man on there.
Okay. All right. We'll be back on the other side and Jess on the other side after Miss C.
Hello, Bishop Fann. Hello, Pastor Shanan. How are you all today? Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hey, y'all, this is Miss C with your 3-minute news blast or more. I've got 3 tidbits that I want to tell you about. Listen, on Saturday, April 29th, 2023, beginning at 1 p.m., you're invited to the grand opening of It Takes a Village Food Distribution Center at 3557 Main Street in College Park. If you're in need of food, you must register by calling 678-760-2159, or you can go online to www.georgiafavorhouse.com. That's Georgia spelled out, favor, Favor, house.com. That's if you want to be part of the food distribution. Shady Grove Baptist invites you to their online midweek Bible study every week at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live. Pastor James Took Sr. is pastor. The 22nd annual prayer walk of In His Great Name Worship Center will be held May 6, 2023, beginning at 10 a.m. And the church is located at 81 Dodge Street in Fairburn. You can call them at 770-964-4729 to get more details. Now, before we leave, I want to extend condolences to some special people. They were my grandmother's neighbors for over 40 years. We all grew up together. And I want to send condolences to Reverend Andrew Hall and his daughter Pat, and daughter Sharita, and daughter Phyllis, and son Ken, in the passing of their mother, Mrs. Lillian Hall. She was a fantastic woman. During the summer, when we were kids, she would help us make our 4th of July outfits. When I was growing up on 4th of July, you had to have a new outfit. And she would help us sew. We'd have, we cut out the pattern. We'd sew, take turns sewing on the sewing machine. And we all had on the same outfit. See, then it was a novelty thing to be dressed alike. But now it's like, oh. But anyway, we used to have fun dressing alike on the 4th of July. And Miss Hall was just a wonderful person. I tell you, she would make the best sweet potato pies you ever wanted to taste. During the holidays, I would get 6 pies. I would get 4 for me and 2 for the family. And they always would wonder, well, why you have to have so many? And because I liked them. And Miss Hall would make them especially for me. And so I just want to send my condolences to Mr. Hall. He's Reverend Hall. He over at Shiloh Baptist Church is where they attend. And I just wanted you all to know how much I love Miss Hall too. She was like my mother. I was raised by my grandmother, so Miss Hall was like a surrogate mother to me. She was just everything, and we kept in touch over the years, and I get pies from her until I couldn't, and she was just a wonderful person. And so I know she will be missed, and because I miss her already. Her funeral was held April the 27th, 2023, and so that is my tribute to Miss Lillian P. Hall. She was a woman among women. And I also want to send condolences to another great woman and her family, the family of Miss Edna Bryant. Miss Bryant took care of my kids while I went to work. One day she came up to me. She said, I hear you need someone to pick up your kids from school. And I said I did, because at that time I would have to go pick them up on what would be my lunch hour, and then go back to work and work just an hour. Then I'd have to go back and pick them up again, And so it was just wonderful when she took over, and she fed them and she nourished them and nurtured them. And so I want to send my condolences to the family of Miss Edna Bryant and her children, Lurla and Danielle and Marvin and Curtis. We love y'all. Y'all family. My kids tell me stories about you all being chased by dogs and things like that. So, and melting now and laters on the heater. I didn't know about that. But anyway, I want to thank y'all so much for loving us all these years. Okay, that's my little tribute. But wait, before we go, I want you to do 4 things for me. I want you to subscribe. I want you to like us. Those buttons are right there on the front. I want you to leave comments, and I want you to share us. Let everybody know about Straight Talk News, because we are here to stay. And so I will, also, listen, if you have any information that you'd like for us to share with the people out there, send it to me by email. That's straight talk news 1362 at gmail.com. And you have to spell it all out. Straight talk news 1362 at gmail.com. And we'll see you right back here next time, okay? Bye now. Love you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Miss C. See there, you're always giving us everything we need. There's one more thing I want to add, and that is that this Saturday, or the 29th, on the campus of Clark Atlanta University, the 17th convening of Let Us Make Man. Let Us Make Man is an organization created by Brother Derek Bozeman and attorney Maudi Davis and several other Reverend Derek Rice and several other leaders that wanted to focus on the concerns of the African American boy and young man in our community. And they have, in those years, focused more not just on the African American boy, but on the issues of the African American family and community. So this conference, though it's called Let Us Make Man, it is for young men and young women. It is for old men and old women, middle-aged men, middle-aged women. It's for all of us to come together who are concerned about the health and well-being of the African American community at large. And when I say the African American community, let me be embracive of the diaspora and all of us, black folk who are here in America and in the state of Georgia and the city of Atlanta. The conference starts at 8. I'm going to send the flyer over so that we can perhaps get it out. But you can you can Google Let Us Make Man Conference and pull that up. We'll get you the flyer and the information so that you can call and register before Saturday. So they can know how many you're bringing and know how many fish sandwiches, or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or whatever they have to prepare for you. Great. At least 8 wonderful, impactful workshops. Everything from crime in our community, gun, economic development, to political, to education, to the rights of passengers, that we discuss. So Let Us Make Man, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the campus of Atlanta. This Saturday, April.
Well, look like he has frozen now, but he'll be back. And what we're going to do is Let Us Make Man Conference, and I'll have that information up before we go off so that if anyone want to register, you can. Now, we're going to hear from the city council person from District 12. We're going to hear from none other than Antonio Lewis and an interview with myself. And we'll be back on the other side to close it out. Here I am today with Councilman Antonio Lewis from the 12th Council District of the City of Atlanta. Atlanta born, Atlanta bred, and that's who he is. He's Atlanta all the way through. And Antonio, I'm glad to have you with me today. I really am glad. I had to tell a story. I got to tell out my story, right?
Yes, sir.
And Antonio, he saw for public office years ago. And he asked for my support, and I told him, you ain't going to win it. You're not going to win it. And he couldn't understand what I was saying. But later on, he really understood what I was saying. And he was consistent, and he was simply determined to be a public servant. Not elected official, but a public servant. And that's what he is. He's a public servant. He is about the people and doing the work of the people for the people. And I'm just so proud of you, young man. I really am proud of you.
And I just appreciate that. I'll never forget that story. I remember seeing you sitting up under a shade tree in a chair on Cleveland Avenue in Old Hateville.
That's it.
And I remember what you told me. You said, man, if you ever learn what you're doing, you're going to have something.
Right.
Because I remember my friend, it was Antonio Fade. And I said his name because we just got him a job with the city of Atlanta.
All right.
He worked for McDonald's for the last 6 years. He made over $65,000 a year at McDonald's.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he made real good money, but we just got him a really good job with the city of Atlanta in our sanitation department. Because what they was out there for at that time was, hey man, we want access to city jobs.
Right.
And so I was running to get my folks, get people who I seen who needed real access to, and they wanted to work. They wanted to be on the back of the trash truck. I was running to get them folks a job. So I'll never forget that time and those words you gave me at that time period when you said, Councilman Luke, you said, man, you young, you got a lot of energy. I can tell you from around here they like you, but you don't know what you're doing yet.
Yeah.
We said, what you can figure something out. Yes, sir. I remember that time too.
Right. And you're doing what you set out to do, and you're looking out for the people that you grew up with. You're looking out for the people that the elder, the senior citizens, the young people that you grew up with, and you're working the work. You're not just a show horse. You're a workhorse. And I want to thank you, man, because you have been standing up for a lot of issues. I mean, and one of the issues that I really want to talk about is, and I know you point to young people. You got several different young groups that you're working with, through the HBCU schools, and you've been getting kids the opportunity to go to college and also to go to trade school, because all kids don't need to go to college. Everybody in college.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That program is a program I started doing before I got on city council.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me trying to be what I needed, right?
Right.
Like, I didn't know much about HBCUs, but the mission, if you look at, I didn't know that at the time, but as I graduated, the mission of an HBCU is to help black people graduate.
Right.
And so I was going to school with a 3-point-some graduated high school with 3-point-some GPA with Hope Scholarship, but I went to a junior college.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I went to a junior college off a basketball scholarship, man. What? I didn't get no advice. No good advice told me, hey, man, you're supposed to be one of them basketball players at a HBCU.
Right.
You ain't going to the NBA, brother. You're supposed to go get your degree so you can come back and find another way to help us out in the community.
Right.
Because everybody has a different job to build what we're trying to do, to mobilize on what we're trying to mobilize on as a race and as a culture.
Right.
And so I didn't have that advice, and so I started a program in which I asked my friends to give me money. And the first year on my birthday, we did a phone-a-thon.
Mm-hmm.
I called everybody in my phone list, right? And I said, give me $25, $50. And what we raised was $16,000 in 4 hours on my birthday. And this was before I was a city council person.
Right.
The following year, I was running for city council, and we were able to raise about $22,000. And what we did was we took kids to every single HBCU in the state of Georgia. And get this, my first cohort, every single student still in college. One of them switched college and went to grad school. Went to switch college and went to trade school, and I'm happy for it.
Right.
Happy for it, but I'm saying 100% of my kids are the students that we invested in about to graduate and make something better out their life, some real social mobility about to happen. And if they didn't go to school, all of them went to school, but the kids that didn't want to go to school, that they're a part of it, we got them jobs with the city, jobs with the city, Fulton County, jobs with Amazon, some real career jobs so they can step into it.
All right. Well, let me ask you this question as we move from that and that portion of it. You being a young man, and of course all of this gun violence and violence you see that's going on, and especially what's happening with the training center that they're trying to build. Last week we had a segment about guns, violence, and fear. Gun violence and fear. And you've grown up in Atlanta, and you've seen many things happen in Atlanta. Did you ever think that people would be fighting against the public safety like they're fighting now?
So I was thinking about that before I came here as well, right? And what I was thinking of is this week I have on purple is Victim Advocates Week.
Okay.
I'm a victim.
Okay.
The first time I experienced gun violence was at the age of 2. My mother was shot over 20 times in the city of Atlanta. My mother was a victim of the Atlanta versus Miami drug war of the late 80s, early 90s. You remember when that happened? Right. They killed my mama simply because she dated a man from Miami. Senseless, right? That man did 30 years in prison. So when I turned 33, before I turned 33, he got out of prison. Guess where he working now?
What?
City of Atlanta, culture of the city.
Okay.
That's my grandmother. I asked my grandmother before he got out of jail. I said, Mom, how you feel about this? She said, I felt justice was served.
Right.
And so I've experienced violence, gun violence. That's a different level of forgiveness.
Right.
And so I take what my grandmama did. My brother might not take what she did. Right. They might have a different level of that, but I take what my grandmama said on that. And so to understand that I've been impacted by gun violence since the age of 2. So that means I understand it in a different way.
Right.
And that's why I speak on it I can speak on it with a wisdom of the impact of no mama.
Right.
right?
Well, you the one like Gabby Gifford was talking about when she was here last week at the and talked to us, a group of us, about how gun violence impacts the victim, their family, and the community. And you're a perfect example of that. And you lived through it from the age of 2 years old.
Full out, and it can impact folks differently, right? I got a brother and a sister, right? And everybody used the impact of my mother's death differently, right? My brother was 4, about to be 5 at the time, so he knew my mom a little different.
Right.
So it impacted him as a child who's been a part of his mom's life.
Right.
My sister, she was 11 months.
Right.
So she didn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it impacted all of us differently. My brother, he's an entrepreneur still. He move around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He out here. And my sister, she's a very good parent. She works in the city of Atlanta. I mean, she does not work for the city of Atlanta, but she's a very good parent. As kids, they're about to go off to school. She does hair, and she also has a job. But I use the death of my mother, like, I literally see, when I talk to God, right? I literally, because I know we go through the Son to talk to the Father, right? And so guess what? I add in, I believe in the Holy Spirit.
Sure.
And I believe that my mother and my grandmother, right? And I believe that their spirits that I say, Mom, Grandma,
Right.
you tell Jesus, tell God to look out for me one time. Imagine what, and so I look at it like I got some strength with God, because my mom and my grandmama ain't gonna let nothing happen to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your mom and your grandma, they got your back.
Right.
And so my grandmama got to see me, she got to raise me. And so she gets to fight for me. My mama had me, so she gonna fight for me anyway. And so I think that's why I am able to be blessed. So I see gun violence both ways. I think that I believe in justice full out. So when people, that means that I'm not anti-police.
Right.
When they killed my mom, you know who they called?
The police.
Yeah.
Right.
And my stepdad was from Miami. You know, they were with it.
Right.
They want to go get them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they still called, my grandma called the police. And we wanted police that was going to be there on time, right?
Right.
We wanted police that was going to solve this case, because if that 30 years had not happened, my grandmother never would have felt justice. That man, I could not have probably sat here and said, that man is a coach for the city of Atlanta somewhere. Right? I don't know him. I just know he's a coach for the city of Atlanta.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But had that not, my grandmother said, I felt justice.
Right.
30 years, the man did 30 years in prison.
Right.
And so I look at, we need better police training. We done said that black people have always said, we want better relationship with the police. I was moving around, and I'm going to cut my live. I guess I'll leave my live on. They don't record this, but I was moving around. I was trying to find out how many people have said abolish the police, right?
Right.
And I heard some black women say a few.
Right.
I done heard some white folks say it.
Right.
But I ain't never heard no black man from the neighborhood say abolish the police.
Right.
And we dealt with them. I grew up in the trap house.
Right.
The rat dogs hit my house all the time. You can check it.
Right.
2808 Altamont Drive. You can check it.
Yeah, I saw it up on the board when we had the MPU.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you that I lived in a house that the community had to tear down. That's how bad it was, man.
Right.
The $4 house. Everybody know you pull up at my house, get anything. The police knew too.
Right.
You get a woman, you get drugs, you can get a gun.
Right.
You can get somebody to go shoot that gun for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You come hide out after you done did something. I used to see when the police used to come to my house, red dogs used to come to my house, my uncle, my granddaddy, my mama boyfriend at the time, called him granddaddy, used to hide in the roof. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I've been impacted. I want a different relationship with the police.
Right.
I'm telling you, I ain't seen nobody from where we from say abolish the police. We know some crazy folk.
Right.
We know some folk. We got some cousins that with it.
Right.
Now they abolish the police, they gonna come get what you got. Now, I'm a survivor of the fittest. I always had a pillow. That's what I mean by that. I grew up head with feet with cousins and brothers who were in prison for murder, right?
Right.
With cousins who were in prison for murder, for real. Head to feet, I always had a pillow. Know what I mean? We were fighting over the pillows. I always had a pillow. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to survive this if you abolish. I'm going to survive. Right? But me and you concerned about our wife when she go to the gas station.
Right. Absolutely. And the community as a whole, because our kids, these things are impacting our kids. They're afraid to go to school. We got a 13-year-old kid. We got a 13-year-old kid who killed somebody. Come on, where did that come from? I mean, just reality.
It's even worse. we call folks overseas crazy. Let me tell you why we call them crazy. We call, me and you both call, I bet all us call Osama bin Laden crazy. Because he'll tell somebody, tell kids to scrap themselves with bombs and walk into play. We say them folk crazy.
Right.
But we don't call these folk crazy who telling my nephew to get this gun and go shoot up this.
Right.
We didn't call it, man, he tricking my kids.
Right.
He tricking my nephew. I'm in a direct battle for the mind of my direct nephew. My brothers, I'm in a direct battle for the mind of my nephews every day. With gang members. I gotta look better, dress better, move better, take them out the games and to be competing because they can't get on the school bus, on the MARTA bus and go to school and wear blue for real, or wear red for real without, or they can't be from Cleveland Avenue because I know a kid that got stabbed 7 times in jail. Guess what?
Because he was from Cleveland Avenue.
No other reason.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, we're in a direct battle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I ain't, man, when you see me, I'm up for the tag, man. I hope that what you know. Sometimes I'm tunnel vision, but I'm up. That's the battle I'm fighting.
Right.
Because I know I'm challenging. My nephew, see, he know what real power look like.
Right.
He know what it look like. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so I'm still directing him because he got it. Sometimes he need a gun. Because he can't ride the MARTA bus to and from school for real. Because of where he from, and he ain't lame. He talk to girls. He want to move around. You know what I'm saying? He want to go to the skate ring.
Sure.
He want to go to the, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so that's the balancing act that we doing. And with the understanding that these are some of the battles with understanding that we believe in justice, right?
Right.
But we also got some people we scared of, some people that we mad at. I look at it like this. Some of these folks we scared of, some of these folks mad at.
Right.
So we need a jail, we need a jail, we need police, but we want a better relationship. And who do you trust? Who do you trust to have to build a better relationship with police than Liliana Bakhtiari, Antonio Lewis, and Mayor Andre Dickens? What, George Shepard? What's the name who just ran? I mean, just think about the other sides.
Right.
What it could have been.
Well, I would say this to you is, and I would say this to people that's viewing today is, that it's the young people that's buying in, and this Marxism theory is really running rapid with our young people, because when you got young people coming out of Spelman and young people coming out of Morehouse and young people coming out of Clark and young people coming out, I mean, the schools that they're coming out of that are traditional black schools that have come out of these communities where crime was, prevalent in those communities. But there may be some of the kids who are better off, right, that didn't experience a whole lot of things like you experienced or I experienced on Hunter Street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They didn't see it. They didn't see it. They weren't touched by it. So they said, we don't need police. We don't need the Gestapo tactic and what have you. But I think the training center for me is to train them how to be and better serve the community in a way that protects everybody. So, and I mean, when I came along, we had, cops that was beating on folks and beating Rodney King and stuff.
I grew up in that.
But I'm just saying that. But that's what it was. But now what we're trying to move to this thing of, and I want to thank the mayor for at least putting together a group of citizens that would say, okay, this is what we need to move from. But see, a lot of people don't know that when Obama was talking about the plan in terms of public safety and how it ought to go, it wasn't about escalation, it was about de-escalation. But you had the sheriffs around the country who were saying, no, we want to do de-escalation. But who were those sheriffs? What did those sheriffs look like? They were Caucasians. Yes, certainly they wanted that. But there was the theme was de-escalation. That's what we want from the training center here in Atlanta and the surrounding area. De-escalation of the police officers to learn how to do it. I was looking at a segment, this morning, one of the officers, she is in a little small town somewhere. Well, her son has autism, right? So she's saying she has taken on teaching and officers how to deal with kids with autism, because you don't know if the kids you're dealing with have autism or not. You're telling them, stop, don't run. Cause, but that kid may not comprehend what you're saying. Yeah. But we have to train our officers how to deal with different segments of our community. And that's why we need a training center to be able to train officers how to deal with certain situations.
And it's a dire, the situation is dire, right? Okay. And if you abolish and you're for anarchy, I don't know how to talk to you, right?
Right.
But if you are for, because I just told you, I lost my mom when I was 2. My
right.
grandmama them called the police. My
Right.
grandmama was okay with that.
Right.
But I got a brother, right? And he would be okay with survival of the fittest, because we not survive when it's time to survival of the fittest.
Sure.
But everybody ain't prepared for that. Yeah, there's a joke. Not a joke. Here's a real statement. The mayor works out all the time. He works out probably 3 times a week. I work out 5 times a week.
Okay.
So we are both over 6 foot.
Right.
Black men in shape.
Sure.
If you see us in a hoodie and jeans, we don't look like elected officials.
Right.
So if the mayor and myself walking down a dark alley, with the people that came to me and said abolish.
Right.
Just think about what they look like.
Right.
If they see me and the mayor walking down a dark alley, they'll call the police on us. You know what I'm saying?
They would.
That's a thing. They'll call it. They see me and him walking down that alley, because a lot of folks. One person in particular, I went to a house meeting when I was running for office, right? You know me. You just said you met me in 2012 when I was running for office.
Right.
And so imagine how long I've been involved in this. Sure. I ran for office in 2012, right? So I've been working for the labor union. You seen me rise at the labor union. I've got promotions.
Right.
I had jobs you ain't never seen black people in at the labor union.
Right.
That's ain't no black person never had the jobs I had at the labor union.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't no black men got them after me either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's good or bad. But then, experience, I done worked for Hillary Clinton. I was her data coordinator in the entire state of Florida.
Right.
I worked for President Barack Obama. Signed up 12,000 people right here in the city of Atlanta to take kids on HBCU tours. You know what they told me?
What?
Some progressive folks asked me, what gang am I in? Yeah, man. When I was running for office, they said, what gang are you in? Imagine what we talking about.
Right.
Ain't nothing about me say, I'm the community kid that they like.
Right.
I'm the one that they seen live in the trap house, they seen grow.
Right.
And they say, man, what gang is he in? So you know what I mean?
But what you telling me, this right here, I'm in the game with Jesus Christ. That's I'm about, what he was about is serving people. Because my experience that I've experienced has helped me to understand how I can reach back and help other young people who've been in similar or like situations, to bring them out of, and I'm going to use it from the scriptures, out of darkness into the marvelous light. And that's what you're doing, and that's what you continue to do. And we can talk about this all day long, but I just really want to thank you for just coming, man, and just sharing today who you are, your real passion. Because when people see you, they see one person, but you got to know the person. As the Apostle Paul says, and Apostle Paul says this clearly, and I appreciate Paul's letter that he writes to the church of Corinthians, to the church of Galatia, where he talks about, people want to bring up my past, but my past, I had a past. Yes, I did. But that past is exactly what it is. But when Christ came into my life, my past is gone away. I'm moving forward, and I'm doing what is right now. So if you want to stick with my past, I'm not going to stay with the past. I'm going to do what I can do to serve the people and do what God and Jesus has called me to do, and you're doing the work.
Can I say something on that? What if my past was good? Imagine this right here.
Right.
Imagine this. Imagine I was president of my elementary school,
okay,
my middle school,
right,
my high school.
Right.
Then guess what? When I went to college, what you think I was?
President
of my college. And
right.
They made a program. They made an organization for all HBCUs when I was in college. Guess who was the president of that organization?
You.
Come on, man. I got a job right out of college in D.C.
Right.
with Councilman Lacey Clay Jr.
Right.
And on Capitol Hill, where he paid my rent for me.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So I married an attorney
right.
that I met in college. She went to 3 HBCUs. So what if I did it right?
Right.
What if I did it right and then I still know how to say shout and they mad at me because I can say shout and I don't talk like they want me to talk because I don't got a code switch. I used to have to code switch, right?
Right.
When I worked for the union, when I worked for some folks, I used to have to not say y'all
right.
sometimes. I was in Iowa.
Right.
But I know how to do that.
Right.
These folks ain't even been to Iowa to run a caucus for Hillary.
Right.
How many black folk you know from Cleveland Avenue ran a caucus for Hillary Clinton?
Or for anybody.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I ran
yeah.
the caucus in Waterloo, the one that's always on the news. I ran that caucus for
Right.
Hillary in 2016.
Right.
I counted the numbers. I'm the person that made the speech to say who won and who lost.
Right.
And I couldn't even count the numbers. That's how I know it's dysfunction.
Right.
Whenever I talk about it, it's dysfunction. They just let me walk in there and say I'm gonna be the captain of this caucus. And so that's how I know what we're dealing with. Then I worked on Capitol Hill. So imagine that I hope that they also understand, what if he did it right? What if my past is? What if my past ain't? I did it right.
Right. Right.
So what?
But even if you do it right in the eyes of people, is where you come from.
I don't like none of
That's
this.
it's where you come from. So I mean that's the real reality. But we can't allow people to hold our past or what they perceive about us to keep us captive or hostage. And as I really had to close this segment, but as I think about the two young men in Tennessee, I see that same fine spirit in you that's standing up and say, we will not be pushed back. We will not be shut up. We will not be told that we cannot speak truth to power. And that's what you're doing. That's what you continue to do. And I applaud you. That's who I met as a young man in 2012 to the young man that you are now, that you didn't let nothing and nobody stop you from doing what God has called you to do. And again, I thank you for just sharing with us today, right here on Straight Talk. It's been nobody but Councilman Antonio Lewis. You heard his passion. Now, hey, watch his work.
Let's go.
Well, I tell you, the councilman was on point. He was on point with HBCU schools, and his work that he did before even getting elected, the work that he is still doing today to help young black men and black women to be able to matriculate through higher education, both colleges and trade. And that's very important. And giving black kids an opportunity for jobs through city government and other entities, so that young people will have an opportunity to take care of their families as they're raising their kids and developing a family structure and making sure that their kids are well taken care of financially, emotionally, and spiritually. And one of the things that he said, Shannon, and I know that you've heard this from him now on numerous occasions about the death of his mother and why he believes the importance of training officer and his forgiving spirit or heart of the young man who killed his mother, and how he forgave him, and that's a real bitter pill to swallow, to lose your mom, right, at the age of 2, because he really never knew his mom because he was 2 years old when she died, right? But he was raised by his grandmother. His grandmother raised him in the kind of environment he grew up in the trap, and how he turned out to be who he is today, doing the things that he is doing. But we here on Straight Talk, pardon me, we here on Straight Talk, we support emphatically officers being trained, not militarized training, but de-escalation training. We don't support that training that would beat people up, that would shoot first and ask questions later, but to try to de-escalate situations. But really knowing and realizing that officers have families too that they're trying to get home to. And so I don't know if you saw this morning. It was on Good Morning America, where this officer in some small town, some other community, her son has autism, and she took on the mission of training other officers on how to deal with kids who have autism. Because when you holler at a kid who has autism and you tell them to stop, they may not understand that. They may react another kind of way. And then if the officer's not trained on how to deal with people with those, those physical conditions or those mental conditions, they may think that the kid is just trying to resist arrest, but maybe not resist arrest, but not understanding the command of the officer and what the officer is asking them to do. So that's why training is very much important. Shannon?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'm a Today Show guy. I missed the because my father, in 1982, Brian Gumble was on television, so it was either Hartman in London, or see a black man every day. So we would look. So I miss Good Morning America. As the Robin Roberts is there now, but I'm just so used to looking at the Today Show. So I miss that story. But that's an important story, and it speaks to the kind of education that we want. Why we want the community oversight, where everyone's arguing about, the real estate that will come around this. We have to really deal with the real estate of policing in our community and how our communities are policed. And so I see this, as I told the mayor, and you have been active in this too. We told law enforcement, because we're not new to this, we're true to this. So we've been meeting with law enforcement. We're not Johnny come here, we're getting ready to have another meeting in May with law enforcement, all of the command staffs and chiefs for the metro area. And we're just really concerned with the community being able to have a voice in everything from the recruitment of officers to the deployment of them. And in that training you have, like you just said today, the sensitivity training to the varying issues that people face in society, that these officers will face as they're going about the work of doing their job to serve and to protect, and then make it home and take children and put them on their laps and sit with their wives and their loved ones and their husbands and discuss their day. That's at the end of the day, that's what most police officers want to do. They're always bad actors, but they're bad actors in everything. God even had to throw some folk out of heaven because there were some bad actors walking around heaven. So we know that, but we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Officers need to be trained to sight, and I'm glad to know that Antonio Lewis. I'm glad to know Councilman Lewis is in support of not militarized training, as you said, Bishop, but the type of training that actually does serve and protect.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you've enjoyed Straight Talk today, and that you will send further more comments about what do you think, and give us a topic that you'd like to see us talking about. Well, Donald Trump is Donald Trump, but Fannie Willis, as you may have heard, she's already asking the sheriff of Fulton County to start gearing up, and
Get ready
for them to gear up, because it looks like the indictment is coming down now from Fulton County. We'll see. Keep looking, keep watching, and we'll keep you informed right here on Straight Talk.
When they say that word, Bishop?
Do what now?
When was that? July?
July. In July.
Yeah, I'm going out of town. I got to go on revival in July. I think you need to come with me. We need to go together. We need to tag team.
I'll put it like this right here.
I should things together, because they got bed bugs issues and stuff they deal with. Finally trying to get them, they busy trying to fumigate the place and all this, and finally she might have to delay this thing from July until they get the bed bugs and stuff together down there, But anyway, we need to go. We're gonna be on revival, so y'all let us know about what happened back in August when we get back.
I'll put it like this: you be on revival, I'm gonna be on vacation. Hey, this ain't been nothing but what? Straight
Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Craig Fann at FANN922@comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.